Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, episode number 169.
Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, where it is all about whitetail deer hunting tips, techniques, and the stories so you can become a more successful whitetail deer hunter. And now your host, Bruce Hutchin.
Larry May joins us today from Tomahawk, Kentucky. He currently works as a high school teacher and coach. He has had a love in fishing for his whole life, with over 38 years of experience, a variety of animals in different states. He devotes most of the time chasing whitetail deer and hunting turkeys, but he enjoys just being out of doors. While he's still teaching, his wife and himself have started a hunting team called Full Range Outdoors. We've had success in looking to continue to grow and create our own hunting shows. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, and we're heading back to Tomahawk, Kentucky. If you go back to episode number, I think it's 44, it's 44, way back when Larry was an early guest on the show, and Larry has done pretty good with Full Range Outdoors, which is a YouTube channel, video show. He's still teaching and coaching out there in Kentucky, and Larry, I'm happy to have you back on the show, man.
It's great to be back on the show. Very happy to be back on with you.
Hey, let's start right off. How do people get to view Full Range Outdoors?
We have all the social media outlets. We're on Facebook at Full Range Outdoors. We post a lot of things on Twitter. That's you can just look under my name for that. We have Instagram. That's under Full Range Outdoors, and then we also have a YouTube channel that's also called Full Range Outdoors.
How about Facebook?
Yes, I'm sorry. Facebook as well. We have. You can look us up on Facebook at Full Range Outdoors, and also, if I didn't already say it, our website at fullrangeoutdoors.com.
Excellent. So people who haven't listened to your earlier show, let's talk a little bit about Full Range Outdoors, why it began, and what your vision of the show is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It began basically out of me growing up in the outdoors and the love of hunting and fishing. And, I kind of talked to my wife as I got a little bit more time to do things like that. And we just sat down and I kind of run the idea by her, and she thought it was a great idea to create our own little thing. And she's new to the outdoors as far as hunting. She's a hunter now, but she hadn't done that until the last few years. But she thought it was a good idea and something that we could do together. And so we sat down and come up with a plan and started it. And we brought on some team members along the way. And our vision is we just wanted to share our outdoor, adventures, all types of hunting and fishing, and just kind of, the common person out there doing it, and we just wanted to share that with everyone through pictures and videos.
Now, you mentioned you have a hunt team. How many people are on your team?
Well, since we've started, there's my wife and I, my son, and probably my soon-to-be son-in-law, and then my father and a really good friend of ours. He's also on it. So what does that make us? About 5 total, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. So
that's about right. Mm-hmm. Now, is it all about whitetail hunting, or is it hunting everything and just being in the outdoors?
It is. Mostly, it's about being in the outdoors. It's mostly hunting and fishing, predominantly hunting, and it's all types of hunting. We do whitetail hunting, turkey hunting, do a lot of turkey hunting. Last year, I got a chance to go out to Kansas and down to Tennessee and actually hunted with Alex Rutledge, and had a blast doing that turkey hunting. We've actually got some hunts scheduled. We're going gator hunting in Florida in June and doing some hog hunting. So it's just the reason we called it Full Range Outdoors is it's just a full range of hunting and fishing experiences, and with all types of bows, guns, anything like that.
Well, hey, Alex Rutledge, why don't you give a shout out for his show? How do people view his show?
Hey, Bloodline TV on the Sportsman's Channel. Alex is a fantastic guy and has a wonderful show, Facebook page, and he's on all the social media, and he's more than happy to talk hunting and fishing. And anytime you message him, he always messages you back. He's a great guy.
And thanks for that, Alex. And most of his crew have been a guest on Whitetail Rendezvous. So, hey, shout out to Alex at Bloodline. So let's talk about what you've been doing for the last 6 months. And so tell us about your hunting stories and just kind of catch up. Well, what's going on?
Okay. Well, in the last 6 months, like I said, last spring we did a lot of turkey hunting and stuff. But in the last 6 months, we went through, deer season, and we've come through there. And I'd like to tell you that, that we killed a monster buck this year. But unfortunately, I ended up eating my tag. We spent most of the year letting deers pass. Had a lot of opportunities at some smaller deer, and I knew there was bigger deer on the property. I'd been seeing them on my cameras and stuff, so just kind of kept letting them go, and never did get a good opportunity to take the one I was looking for. So we just come through that. Here in the last little bit, we've been doing a lot of videos, been shooting a lot of promotional videos for some of our sponsors, Ultra Pro X cameras and some people like that. And, of course, we're gearing up for the upcoming turkey season. We've got a trip planned in a couple weeks or so. We'll be going down to Tennessee, hunt with some friends of ours down there at RSQ Outdoors. And, of course, we've got the Kentucky hunting season coming in soon. So right now we're getting things together and gearing up for turkey season.
One thing in the warm-up, Larry, you mentioned, and I tabled it or put the title on it, It's Your Hunt. And explain what that means to you.
It's your hunt. To me, it means that when you go hunting, it's all about what you want. We see so many times, and I'm not knocking anything that we see on TV or anything, because that's great. I love all the shows. But sometimes we get the mentality that, we've all got to hunt a certain way, or that we've got to kill a certain type of deer. And to me, it's your hunt. It's all about you. If you want to shoot a crossbow, or anything that's legal in your state, if you want to shoot a crossbow, if you want to shoot a compound bow, if you want to use a feeder, don't use a feeder. If you want to take a 6-point buck, or if you want to hold off, like I'd mentioned, I've killed deer before, so I was kind of looking for a particular deer. If you want to hold off for the big one, that's great. But but it's your hunt. However you want to hunt. If you want a ground blind, tree stand, what makes you happy and what gets you outdoors. That's what it means to me.
And thanks for that, because so many people get wound up, especially in social media, and saying, "How come you killed that little deer?" Or "How come you did this?" And Brenda Valentine was the person that brought it out to me when she was a guest on the show, Larry. She said, it's your hunt. And so the joy you take away, it's yours, and it doesn't really belong to anybody else. So figure out what makes you happy in the field and go do it.
Exactly, yes.
Talk about the outdoor lifestyle. Now, it seems your whole life, you've got your teacher coach, and then the rest of the time spent outdoors. And how do we bring people into the outdoor lifestyle?
Yeah, that's a good question. The outdoor lifestyle, it's a way of life. I've got some people, it doesn't interest them, but the outdoor lifestyle is a way of life, and it's just so exciting to be out in the outdoors, just being out there where you can experience the different weather changes and just the breeze in your face, so to speak. And there's so many things that we can do out there. I mean, we talk about hunting and fishing. There's hiking. There's trail riding, side-by-sides, four-wheelers, horseback riding. It's just a great experience. So that's kind of what it means to me. And if we could get more people out there, and instead of just sitting around or stuck on a computer all the time. And of course, being a coach and a teacher all my life, I'm a health teacher, so you talk about being healthy and living healthy. If you can just get outside and be active and just do things and do whatever it is that makes you happy when you get out there.
What advice do you have for single moms and dads, and they got kids that are just, they're techno, bugs or whatever you want to call it. They're just into their technology. How to get them out of that and into the woods?
Mm-hmm. My advice is to deliberately take some time to get away from it. I've got my youngest son. He hunts and goes almost everywhere with me, but he's 15, and he loves his computers and his video games and stuff. But he doesn't care to lay them down. Put them down sometimes when we go out and we've got a camper on some property and we don't have any Wi-Fi or internet. Can't even use our cell phones to text or anything when we're in the down off the mountaintop and stuff. But just, take some time to lay them down. They're a part of our life now. We've all come to rely on them, but just deliberately take some time to put them down and take your kids outside and share things with them and stuff. They'll be there when we get back. And I've seen some things in the past. You're probably not going to remember too many of the Xbox games that you played together or anything, but when you get outside and do something, experience something, harvest a deer, catch a fish or something like that, that's probably what you're going to remember.
That all ties into, as you said in the warm-up, faith and family. So let's spend a couple of minutes talking about, what that means to you.
To me, it all goes together. And we talk about listing things in our life, and our faith should come first, our faith in God and, our spiritual beliefs and stuff. And, the place I was raised, it was all tied together. We were all going to church together and spending time together and stuff. So it's always one of those things that's kind of hard to separate with me. But just your faith and family should mean everything to you. It's the people that has formed you into who you are. They've taught you the things in life. They've sacrificed things to help you become who you are. And in turn, as we've grown and become parents and stuff, I've done the same thing, turn around and sacrifice things for your kids. And, but all along the way is, instilling them, your beliefs and values in God, and, being a good citizen, and, praying about things and stuff. So, and sharing those memories, the best memories that I have. I can go hunt any place, different places that I want to and stuff, but the memories that I really have are the ones that when I'm out with my dad, calling in a turkey, or at deer camp, and my son, and sharing those things with my wife and teaching her how to shoot, and and helping her and things. So that's what it means to me. It's just all one thing that kind of shapes us into who we are and makes us a better person.
Thanks for sharing that, and we're going to switch it back to the hunting season, and your you had tag soup, I guess, or mm-hmm. for this year. Let's talk about your hit list, and let's talk about the things you did right mm-hmm. and the things that didn't go so right. So, first of all, tell us about the number of acres you're hunting.
Okay, well, the property that I mainly hunt, there's about 3,500 acres. There's several people that hunt it on a lease, so I don't hunt all of that. I have my own little section that I pretty much stick to. So it's probably a couple 300 acres of it that I primarily hunt.
And is that timber, or is that bottoms or hollows, or what kind of terrain is it?
Yeah, it's timber. The areas that I hunt, it's up out of the hollers, in the higher, little bit higher elevation, and stay in the hardwoods and stuff.
Any creek bottoms and food plot areas, or?
No, there is creek bottoms and things that some people hunt, and like I said, primarily where I'm at, there's not any, and there's not any food plots on the property, except for I do put some myself, just the throw and grow food plots. I have some areas where I'll rake up and put those out and grow a little bit of the clover and ryegrass and stuff.
Does that bring the deer in or keep them on the property?
Yeah, it seems to me that it does. I've been on this particular property now. I've hunted 3 seasons through it, so I've evolved with my locations and what I've done. So this year, I put that throw and grow out in certain areas, and it came up fairly well. And I put a camera on it, and it had deer using it. And in the same location with with all my setups and stuff, I also used minerals. I work with Rack Tracker Outdoors and use their minerals and things, and put those out along with a couple of feeders in locations and stuff. And then, like I said, run the cameras and all that. So I've got the pictures to show what's working it, and it seems to, at least the combination of all that, keep them coming and holding in that area.
Let's talk about minerals. I understand throw and go. What kind of minerals do you put out, and how often do you put them out?
Well, last year, like I said, the evolution of Full Range Outdoors has allowed me to work with some wonderful people. And one of the first people I started working with was Rack Tracker Outdoors, and they do the mineral supplements and stuff. And we actually started as soon as we got finished turkey hunting last year. We probably were a little slower than some, but like I said, we were spending so much time doing that. But it was in May. It was the latter part of May we began putting the mineral sites out. And I've always had success with anything apple flavored, and so I always went with the apple attractants. And so we set up several sites by our stand locations and blinds, and basically just dug up an area and put the minerals in and raked it into the dirt and stuff. And so we put those out in May, and then we freshened them up. We would probably in the beginning every 2 or 3 weeks we would go back out and add some more to them and keep them working that way. And then actually later on we mixed it up and we put some persimmon flavored minerals out and stuff, and had good success with both.
Well, tell us about your hit list. Now, you said you did a little improvement and putting out some feed and some minerals, and you got the cameras out. So what turned out? Well,
this year I had, and we started with our cameras a lot earlier, so we started building that list in May. We pulled them through the winter and then put them back out as soon as we got ready to start putting the minerals out. And through the course of the summer and well into the season, developed quite a big hit list. We had a lot more deer to choose from and to look at this year than we've ever had. And we had some really nice, everything that you could imagine, 12s, 10s. We had a couple of split brow tines deer that was really good looking. We had some really nice big 8 points, wide ones. I'm not one of the best to say it was a 160 or a 130 or anything like that. I'm not real good at always judging that, but we had a very long list of some really nice deer this year. Caught them from in full velvet all the way up into the season, and not only the ones that we started with, but as the season gone on, we began to see more deer working into the area and stuff.
What do you think your deer per 10 acres, 40 acres is, your census?
Oh gosh,
was that a trick question?
Yeah.
I shouldn't ask that.
Yeah, that one's a tricky one there. I don't really know a number on it. There's better places. It's not like being in some areas where they're just running over top of you, but there's a good number. It's in we primarily hunt Lawrence County, Kentucky. That's the county over from where I live, and they have a good deer population there. They may not always have the biggest in the state, but there's a good deer population, and so you'll see plenty of deer.
So I'll just give a shout out for QDMA, and if you're not using that resource, Larry, or listeners, you really need to, because they can help you figure out your census, and there's a couple of ways to do it. But check out QDMA, and ask them questions. They're great people over there, and they're more than happy to help you and line you out if you can't find exactly what you're looking for, because a balanced herd is the key. And it sounds like you're doing some supplement feeding and minerals and everything right. And if you keep it up, all of a sudden you're gonna have some Mr. Wonderfuls on your list. And it sounds like you had some pretty decent deer on your hit list anyway.
Yeah, and definitely, I'll check them out, because we try to do our part. Like, it's if we were the only people hunting it, we could do a better job. But even though we're not, we try not to over harvest does and take some of the smaller bucks and stuff. We still try to look for letting them grow and get a little maturity to them.
Now, are you archery hunting or gun hunting?
Both. I primarily archery hunt, but I do gun hunt. There was times this year that even during gun season, I took my bow. I just love archery hunting, and just love the opportunity to get closer to the deer, and just have that chance to take one with a bow. But I do gun hunt. I rifle hunted and muzzleloader hunted this year as well.
Thanks for that. And I had Jim Willems on the show today. He's the president of Pope and Young Club. And are you a member of Pope and Young?
No, I'm currently not a member of Pope and Young.
And I'll just ask this question: why?
Well, honestly, I never really thought about doing that. I do a lot of the others, in WTF and some things like that, and Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, but I never really thought about being a member of them.
That's interesting. And, Jim was talking about it. There's millions, of whitetail hunters. Not all are archers, but he says they have less than 1% of the total people who get an archery tag are members. And it's under 10,000 people. I'm going, really?
Well,
I'm just going to ask, as they go forward, if people are archers, why they aren't, because, they not only just a record book, but they're helping, keep the archery, seasons separate from any, other firearms, muzzleloader or crossbow or rifle. And it's just interesting.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that. I guess it's kind of one of those things where you don't see it as publicized as much or something, maybe. And but I'll have to look into becoming a member.
Yeah, I could say they're one of the keepers, if you will, of the record book. So 125 whitetail goes in the book if you so choose, and if you don't, it's about the hunting tradition bent towards sticking a string.
Okay, oh, great.
So let's talk about what went wrong. If you ate, you had tag soup, what happened?
Excuse me. Being I won't say being a little too choosy, because I had the opportunity to take a couple of deers, but we're just waiting on something different. I just couldn't get anything close enough. I seen them, and they just didn't quite get in range. I think, looking back on the season, and I'll throw a plug at you, having listened to some Whitetail Rendezvous podcasts, and especially the one that got me started on it was Doug DeHarpart, when he was on there, and he talked about moving his stands. He was getting a deer on camera that was just coming in after dark and stuff. And then I listened to Brian Hardy, and he brought the same comment up about of someone helping him move a stand one time. And so, as the season went on, I think my mistake was that I should have tried to move some locations better. I started trying to zero in on where those deer were bedding at, and my problem was they were coming in too late to shoot, or I was missing when they were right there under my stand. And so I think my biggest problem was not figuring out the exact location to try to move around a little bit and catch them in the daylight.
So why didn't you move your stand?
Well, partially my fault there was as the season went on, I really didn't know. I was trying to figure out where to, they were at and stuff. And I did try to move a location as the season went on, but I just didn't, hit it in the right spot.
So one tip that I heard, I'm thinking that I can't remember the guy's name out of Louisiana. He sets up his trail cams to figure out where they are, when they are there, and then in relationship to a stand. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, yes.
And then he just leapfrogs them. So let's say the buck's coming from bedding area to feeding area, from feeding area to watering or whatever. He gets a sense, and then he starts narrowing it down. And so he can say, okay, at season ends at 5:30. So at 5 o'clock, where is that buck? Mm-hmm. And he sets his cameras out to do that. One caveat here is it's during season. Do you want to be moving cameras and being in that cover that much?
Right.
It just depends. Mm-hmm. And every chance is different. But think about that and become a student, a 365 student, where you can see the game trails, and then you can structure cameras where you think Mr. Wonderful is coming and staging. And I call it staging. Other people do too. They have staging areas, especially when they're coming into a food source or a mineral source. Mm-hmm. And so they'll stage the does and the fawns, and younger bucks will come bouncing in and do their thing. But the mature buck will have line of sight. He can see them, but he doesn't move. Right. He'll stand there until the light comes lower and lower and lower, all clear, and then he saunters in. And that's, I call it ghosting, because 1 second there's nothing there. Next second you're going, how do you get there?
Exactly.
I was just watching. They just ghost in and ghost out. And that's a mature buck that, quote unquote, I'm looking for, because last season I passed over 20 bucks within 30 yards of my tree stands in 3 different states, and I just never pulled. I just didn't shoot, and that's why I came home tagless. I had a great season, saw a lot of neat stuff, but but it's my hunt, and I'm to the point where, hey, if it isn't what I want to shoot, I'm not going to shoot it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's kind of where I was at. I had some that I could have taken, but I was. I've to the point where, I want it to be the one I want, and I don't have to always kill one to say, prove that I'm a hunter or anything like that. I just enjoy seeing them. Was filming for the first time this year, enjoyed filming. I had a really nice, it turned out to be a 6. It was tall. It looked like a even better deer than it was. Filmed it from 100 yards out. It came right in to bow range and stuff, and just enjoyed watching it and letting it walk away.
Larry, I can't believe it, but we're at the time in the show where you get to shout out to people who helped you along the way, anybody that you have on sponsors, your team members, so have at it.
Okay, well, I definitely want to mention Rack Tracker Outdoors, great partners of ours, Hardy Face Paint, L&M Custom Scents, Wolf Premium Oils, Muddy Outdoors, Beaver Creek Game Calls, Bison Coolers, Ultra Pro X Cameras, Luminoc Big Game Tree Stands, and Deer Crossing Archery. Those are some of the wonderful people that sponsor us and partner with us, and help make things possible for us to do what we do.
Well, Larry May, it's been a pleasure having you on the show again, and I look forward to catching up 6 months or a year from now. And if anything happens along the way and you want to get some social media promo, you get in touch with me, sir.
Awesome. Sounds great. I'd love to. And same here. If we can ever do anything for you, just let us know, and we'll be happy to share the word.
As your host at Whitetail Rendezvous, I want to thank each and every one of you for spending your time with us today. I look forward to sharing with you in the next episode more whitetail hunting tips, techniques, and stories. Until then, keep the sun at your back, the wind in your face, and always be patient. If you have any tips, comments, or suggestions, or what we can do to improve, because we're here to serve you, let us know. Thanks for listening to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast at www.whitetailrendezvous.com.